Hello, welcome to the OSU Alumni Association's Travel Talks presentation, 2021 Travel Preview. I am Kate Sanders, Director for Alumni Programs and Alumni Group Travel. Some of you are joining us today that have traveled with us in the past, and some of you are new to our program. Well, welcome. Our travel program has been around for 30 years, providing group tour options to our alumni and friends of the university. We offer both exclusive departures and trips with a mix of alumni from OSU and other partnering institutions, such as USC, University of Washington, and a few others. Every year, we select between 30 to 40 tours from a variety of well-established and well-respected travel providers and promote them to our community. When tours sell well, a professor, university leader, or an alumni association representative joins the tour, and they provide additional educational content about the destination and the university. Not only is the bond with the university strengthened by sending a host, but they also assist with tour logistics and help ensure you have a great time. This year, we invited representatives from various companies to speak to you about the tours and why they have been a trusted OSU Alumni Association partner for many years. Last month, we heard from AHI Travel and Odysseys Unlimited. If you would like to review this webcast, please visit osualum/travel talks. Sorry, that's osualum.com/travel talks. Today, we will hear from Go Next and Orbridge. Each company will present a brief overview of their tours, and we will have a question and answer session at the end. You'll see at the bottom of your screen, there's a small Q&A icon. Use that icon to enter in your questions. And be sure to stay until the end, as we will have a surprise special savings to tell you about from both companies. I am sure you are just as excited as I am to travel again. We are finally starting to see a slow increase in travel worldwide and getting closer to that COVID vaccine. We are hopeful that one of our group tour departures will be able to leave soon. But until that vaccine becomes something we can all access, and many locations are requiring a proof of a negative COVID test, or unfortunately, that mandatory 2-week quarantine. While we are not able to offer tours to locations with the mandatory 2-week quarantine, a negative COVID test may become routine, and some countries are now requiring the purchase of travel insurance to cover medical expenses. Will countries require a COVID vaccine, much like other travel vaccines? Only time will tell. We don't know yet. In the meantime, tour providers such as GoNext and Orbridge have adapted new safety protocols. Hotel, airlines, and every company at every point of your journey has developed new cleaning and safety protocols as well. And people are traveling today, although we will see many, many more in the near future. So what can we do now? Plan, get excited for your next trip, and that is why we are here. Whether you're ready to head out tomorrow or you're looking to delay a year or so more, research is always the first step. Both GoNext and Orbridge have been partners with OSU for years, and they are trusted companies that travelers go back to year after year. Be sure to stay until the end, as I mentioned before, as both companies do have some savings for you. So without further ado, please welcome Mike Maglione. He's the Senior Director of Business Development at GoNext. Mike?
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us today. Why don't you have you turn your video on?
Is that on?
And then we've got your screen, but we don't see you yet.
Okay, how's that?
There we go. Now we see you. Thank you for
Very
joining
good.
us.
Thank you, Kate.
Yes, I'll have you take it away.
Very good. Well, thanks so much, folks. Thanks for joining us. As Kate mentioned, my name is Mike Maglione, representing GoNext, and we're really excited to be participating in the OSU Alumni Association's virtual travel preview. GoNext has been in the business. Actually, it'll be our 50th anniversary in 2022. So we've been around for a while, and we intend to be around for a lot longer. Obviously, everyone's navigating through the 2020 COVID era, but we think we're well positioned to hit the ground running or cruising, so to speak, once things start ramping up again. We specialize in blue water cruising featuring Oceania cruises, as well as domestic river and lake cruising featuring American Queen Steamboat and Victory Cruise Line, as well as European river cruising featuring Scenic Cruises. We employ professionals at every level, starting with our guest services staff in Minneapolis, and ending with our program managers on all our departures. All programs employ onboard program managers with whom you'll interact throughout the cruise. We always have our Go Next desk adjacent to the concierge on all our vessels, and we're there to service you. You'll always be interacting with our staff, and we utilize them to help you have a great experience within the OSU group. That entails private receptions, a private OSU hosted dinner with a planned group photo. All the OSU passengers will go out together on shore excursions. We also have alternative dining venues we can arrange for you, as well as lectures, scheduled lectures, trivia, etc. So we're really big on really promoting the group dynamic within the Go Next group. It's really important to have trusted partners, especially during this era. And as I mentioned, between Oceania, American Queen, and other operators, we really want to focus coming out of this on how we're going to best approach the health and wellness protocols. Oceania has been part of a panel that has actually helped establish a panel called the Healthy Sail Panel, headed by Scott Gottlieb, former commissioner of the FDA, and Mike Levitt, former Secretary of Human Health Services. And they put together along with about 15 health professionals, put together a 67-page list of protocols that they introduced to the CDC the end of September. This helped us in really establishing some industry-wide protocols, which the CDC is now reviewing. And as a result of that, they have not and have announced they are not going to extend their no sail ban beyond November 30th. The time span looks like this as of right now, and of course things change, but it looks like it'll take 30, 60 days for cruise lines to repatriate and to restaff their vessels. And then several, including Oceania, have just announced test cruising in January. So we foresee the first quarter to be slowly, incrementally getting back into business. But speaking of these protocols, they include touchless temperature and rapid testing at embarkation, electrostatic defogging, and HEPA filters in all staterooms and public areas, and enhanced public medical officer on board, in addition to the physicians in expanded quarantine and medical area facilities. Touchless food service, which Oceania has always had at their buffets, where the staff actually serves the food. Obviously, natural social distancing. What's good about this is Oceania, all the vessels have more public space per passenger than most cruise lines. So it really is playing well into the social distancing aspect. And obviously, onshore protocols will also be improved when it comes to smaller group sizes, sanitation upon the shore, the motor coaches, and different rules when it comes to shoreside excursions. So we believe that once these are in place, you really will have, once you get on board on the vessel, a very clean and sanitized bubble, so to speak. Our 2021 programs cover the gamut from the South Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, up to Iceland and Reykjavik. So we basically cover the world. I'm going to touch upon just a few of these itineraries today. And of course, you can always get more information on the website. Beginning with our Tales of Tasman program, departing January of 21. As I mentioned, this is a program that, as of right now, may or may not operate, but we do plan to have a comparable program that we already have agreed to operate in the same time period in 2022. So whether it's this winter and things come back strong or not, this is a program we do every year, and we're confident that it'll certainly operate in 2022, if not 21. This program's priced from $50.49, including air from 28 major gateways throughout North America. And this package includes a choice of select shore excursions or a shipboard credit or a beverage package. Our program begins in Auckland, obviously with the beautiful downtown area in the backdrop of Mount Eden. We go on to Bay of Isles, Rotorua, Napier, Wellington. So basically the North and South Islands of New Zealand. We transit the Tasman over to Burnie, Tasmania, spend 2 full days in Melbourne and up to Sydney. Aboard your vessel on this program will be the Oceania Regatta, a 685 passenger vessel. As I mentioned, ample public space and stateroom area. And Oceania is very well known for their cuisine. In fact, they've been voted the best cuisine at sea the last 6 years. They really put a lot of focus in their foodstuffs. In fact, they invest more monies in foodstuffs than any other cruise line. And as a result, you'll have an excellent culinary experience. This here is the aft deck of what they call the Terrace Grill. This is the buffet that's open for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They also have an onboard spa. They have our grand dining room is open seating, open 6 to 9. You just come in with whom you want and sit at a table where you'd like. So there's no assigned times or seating. We also have alternative restaurants that are treated like normal restaurants with reservations, that including Toscana, which is our authentic Italian restaurant, and Polo Grill, which is an American steakhouse. As I mentioned, we transit from Auckland to the Bay of Isles, down to Rotorua and the famous hot springs, into Napier, into Wellington, in the rail cars, Akaroa, Dunedin and Larnac Castle, into Burnie, Tasmania, into Melbourne, in the Koalas, and then finishing in Sydney in the famed Sydney Opera House. Our next featured program is Legends of Lagoons. This is a fascinating program departing March 15th, 2021. Price from $38.49. This is a round-trip Papeete program, visiting Moorea, Whakarava, Nukuhiva, Rangiroa, Bora Bora, Raiatea. And it's just back to Papeete. This is a fascinating itinerary, one of the most uncivilized and uncommercialized areas of the world. And you'll have the opportunity to visit the urban area of Papeete, which is the urban center, and then to Moorea, where you'll find the stunning landscapes, the unbelievable deep blue water, the white sand beaches. Of course, Bora Bora is a highlight with the thatch roofed huts. And it's always the waterfalls, the Captain Cook history. It's just a fascinating destination and a very leisurely destination. Our next featured program is Prismatic Japan. Japan's very popular right now, departing April 20th, 2021. Round trip Tokyo. Of course, we start here in Tokyo, where you have the cosmopolitan mixed in with the traditional architecture. This program is priced from $48.99, again, including all air from 28 major gateways and the additional amenities. From Tokyo, we'll go to Shimizu, into Kyoto, Kobe for Kyoto, Hiroshima, Busan, South Korea, Sasebo, Kagoshima, and then back to Tokyo. Whether it be the Mount Fuji from Shimizu to Kyoto, to Hiroshima and the Peace Memorial, into Nagasaki, Kagoshima, and more of a meeting of the modern and the old. This is a great program, especially during the cherry blossom season, when the cherry blossoms are in full bloom. Our British Isles and Lowlands program is June 12th through the 23rd. This program priced from $40.99, circumnavigating mostly Ireland with a few stops in the UK. beginning in Glasgow, I'm sorry, and the Port of Isle into Bantry, Ireland, Londonderry and Belfast, into Glasgow, the UK and the British Isles is always a popular program during the summertime. Our Rhine Highlights program is a 9-day, 7-night cruise beginning July 11th, 2021. And this transits the Rhine from Amsterdam to Basel. Our home will be the scenic Jasper. It's one of the nicest vessels on the river. And what's nice about scenic, everything is inclusive. In fact, when you get on board, there's no credit card required. All gratuities, meals, all brands of alcohol, all shore excursions, everything is included. This is a picture of one of their standard suites, butler service, French balcony where that window comes down to that wood rail. So you can create your own balcony or you can make your stateroom larger. Satellite TV, satellite telephone, very contemporary. They have a unique app where they have a GPS and a narrated access with headphones, so you can even go off to shore. And they have e-bikes too, which are really cool. So you can go off and have a self-narrated tour on your own. Again, mentioned this is Amsterdam down to Basel. Visit Cologne, the Cologne Cathedral out of Amsterdam. Down to Strasbourg. This is the beautiful canals of Strasbourg into Basel. Our Lustrous Coast program is September 25th through the 6th. This is a Mediterranean cruise from Rome to Barcelona. It's a 12-day, 10-night itinerary. Starting from 3349. Really does a nice job of giving you some experiences with some common ports, starting in Rome and going down to Sorrento and Capri to visit the Amalfi Coast, into Messina, Sicily, into Valletta, up to Livorno, along the French Riviera into Barcelona. Obviously, we begin in Rome and the opportunity to visit the Colosseum or St. Peter's Square, down to the Greek ruins of Messina, up to Livorno. We have the option to visit the walled city of Lucca or Florence here on the Arno River, San Gimignano, Pisa, or Tuscany. So there's several options outside of off the vessel at Livorno. And what's nice, you'll have, a half a dozen to a dozen options, depending if you've been to this region before. You always have some new things to see. Up to the coast, into the French and the Italian and French Rivieras, in the famed Monte Carlo Casino and the Principality of Monaco, and some of the small towns like Ez and some of the smaller towns outside of Monaco. And then along the coast and finally ending in Barcelona, where the famed Gaudi's La Sagrada Familia church is well known for its architecture. And finally, our Prismatic Falls Colors program. It's a New England coastal program, New York to Montreal, departing October 1st on Insignia. Always a favorite, kind of combining the U.S. eastern seaboard with the Canadian provinces, starting in Newport and the famous architecture and the stately mansions in Newport, up to New York, Boston, into Halifax, Saguenay, and the provincial ports, into Quebec City, down the St. Lawrence Seaway, and then finally in Montreal. So these, again, are some of the highlighted trips. We have several other I did not discuss, but feel free to go to gonext.com OSU or call our 800 number, and we'd be glad to provide additional information.
Wow, Mike, these trips, it's so hard. I want to leave. It's so hard to pick which one to go on. I have been on a couple of them, and they are fabulous. The ship is fabulous. The river boats are fabulous. It is really quite a wonderful experience when you travel with Go Next. Thank you very much for sharing those.
Thank you.
especially now it's so rainy and the rains have come to Oregon and we're all looking out the window going, when can we go? Where can
There
we
you go.
go?
Love to hear.
All right. Well, thank you. So we have another wonderful slate of trips. And Dan Stipa, Dan is the director of sales at Orbridge, and he is going to take it away and tell us about these offerings. Dan, welcome. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Kate.
You're welcome.
Thank you to everyone for joining us today. So let me pull up the slides. So there we go. So as Kate said, my name is Dan. I serve as the director of sales for Orbridge, and I'm based out of Houston, Texas. And so I wanted to spend just a few minutes to talk about the offerings that we're proud to partner with Oregon State University on in 2021. But before I do that, I wanted to share some insights from a recent tour that kind of helps set the stage and show you what travel looks like. So with Orbridge, many of our programs are land-based experiences, including here in the United States itself. And so we have actually been able to operate a handful of our small group exclusive national parks and Southwest National Parks tours. And so I had the opportunity to join our very first departure in mid-July. And so I wanted to share a few photos from that to kind of help you see what it looks like to travel right now if you haven't been able to. And so kind of from the very beginning, it does look and feel different. There's no denying that. And so starting with the airport and the shuttle over into the terminal and then getting into the terminal, of course, travel has picked up a bit since July when these photos were taken. But even when I was just in the airport a couple weeks ago, it's still a marked difference from what it was at this time last year. And so once we get onto the tour, we are taking all the precautions to help promote a safe and well experience while on tour. So everything from the motor coaches. And so we have small groups. Our tours are generally no more than 40 guests in maximum total. But these departures that have gone out this summer were smaller than that for reasons that we can all imagine. And so when we're on the motor coaches, and this will continue moving forward, we're going to have abundant social distancing. And so not only is there space for empty rows and empty chairs on the motor coaches, but every night the motor coaches are fogged, all touch surfaces are wiped down throughout the day every time that the guests get off and on the bus. And then you also see on the right-hand side of the screen, a hotel conference room. So this is kind of the welcome as folks were kind of filling out some of their paperwork to get it out of the way and whatnot. And so these types of settings also have been modified. And so fewer people per table, more space in between the tables themselves, the elimination of self-service buffets at all of the different meals. And so at all different points along the way, making sure that we're taking every step possible to help promote a healthy environment. And then once we're on tour, the expectation is that guests for the foreseeable future, including obviously the ones that we offered, guests wearing face coverings and our local guides and tour directors and expedition leaders. And you see on the right-hand side of the screen, one of the things that we're really proud of is that we are now doing even more private experiences just for the groups that are traveling with us. And so at this archaeological dig site, for example, we actually adjusted the itinerary so we were able to visit before it opened to the public. So then that way we minimized exposure with anyone who wasn't traveling with our group. And then taking advantage of the abundant outdoors. And so, as I said, this was a national parks tour that I was on. And so all of our tours are led by a tour director and an expedition leader. And so Kent, our expedition leader on our national parks tours, who's a former park ranger himself, rather than having a lecture in a hotel conference room, we're now doing those outdoors when possible. So that photo on the left-hand side was actually taken at the base of Mount Rushmore as Kent was sharing with us information about that national site. And then on the right-hand side, you see our group in Yellowstone. And so Obviously, with the pandemic, tourism is down, but right now, and for kind of as travel begins to ramp up, a lot less crowds at the different places that we're visiting. So this area, usually there'd be throngs of people that groups are having to navigate through. And you can see that really, for the most part, we're the only guests that were there at the moment. And so as we move forward into travel in 2021 and beyond, a few observations just for you as travelers to be aware of is that these enhanced protocols are here to stay, that even once there's a vaccine developed that's widely used, Orbridge, other tour operators are taking this seriously. And this has been an opportunity, while travel hasn't been happening as earnestly as it had been, to really make sure and revisit these protocols. And so eliminating shared products, those single serve items removed. And so that will be here to stay. But in addition to the on-tour adjustments, really putting the guest even more front and center. And so I'll talk a little bit at the end about some enhancements to our policies and terms and conditions. But that flexibility is here to stay as well. And so we are seeing already with bookings for 2021, some of the closer to home experiences are really what seem to be resonating. And we're proud that we have some of those that we'll be offering with Oregon State that I'll share with you as we shift into 2021. So hopefully that sets the stage of what travel has looked like for those tours that have operated, and what to expect as we kind of restart travel in earnest moving into 2021. So in chronological order, the first one is our Yosemite, Death Valley, and the Great Parks of California program. So this program is in June, departing on June 6th. And this is an 8-day program starting in Vegas and then continuing into 4 different national parks. And so on this tour, you'll be visiting Death Valley, Yosemite, Sequoia, and Kings National Parks. And so with this program, you'll be staying in park properties, and our expedition leaders are former park rangers, like I said. And so having that really immersive experience where you're being led by those who have spent much of their life in their professional careers in the places that you're visiting. And so on this program, and with all Orbridge programs, all of your gratuities are included, your airport transfers are included, and so you don't have to worry about paying out of pocket for any of those types of expenses along the way. And so the first one, like I said, Yosemite and Death Valley. And then our next one is our National Parks and Lodges program. And so this program, we've actually had about 3 Oregon State travelers sign up for this in the past 2 days. And so we're really happy to see that this is already resonating. And this is the tour that I was just on this past July. And so this is a 9-day program starting in Rapid City and then continuing on into visiting Mount Rushmore, Custer State Park, continuing across Wyoming into Yellowstone, and then finally ending in the Grand Tetons. With this program, similar to the Yosemite one that I just talked about, we stay in the national parks. And so you don't have to worry about staying outside, driving into the park, dealing with those crowds. And so we stay in the park properties, which is a real difference maker in terms of the overall experience that you get to enjoy while on tour. On this tour, there's an abundant opportunities for you to kind of make it your own. And so if you wanted to go on a little bit more strenuous of hikes, you're able to do that. Or if you wanted to stay behind and have a talk about wildlife, you're able to enjoy that as well. So we really provide opportunities for you to craft an experience for yourself that is what is most meaningful to you. And then our next tour is a bucket list type of experience. And so this is our Trans-Siberian Railway tour in August of 2021. And so this is a 14-day program that starts in Ulaanbaatar and then continues along the Trans-Siberian Railway. And so while on this tour, each of these different stops along the way, so Lake Baikal, the Kazan, all these different locales along the way, we really make sure and that and provide people-to-people authentic interactions. And so while you're on the train and that you're moving home away from home for these 2 weeks, at each point along the way, you're getting out and exploring and having excursions that are all provided for you each day. Most of the train travel itself is actually in the evening time, overnight, and so we're able to take advantage during the day in all of these different cities. While on board, you have an enrichment program that is arranged for you. And so there are lectures that are provided that you can either attend in the lounge car or have piped into your room. There's full butler service available throughout. All you have to do is press a button and then whatever you want is brought to you. And so on this tour, we use only the 4 highest categories on that SARS Gold. And so while the cabins are a little small, they're incredibly luxurious and deluxe for your stay on this program. And then once we arrive into Moscow, then we do get off the train, and then the final few days of the program are in Moscow itself. And then last but not least is our Flavors of Northern Italy program. And so with this program, one of the exciting things about it is that there's no single supplement. And so what that means is that if you are traveling by yourself, oftentimes you're probably aware of the additional supplements or fees that there are for single travelers. But on this program, we've eliminated those on the main portion of the tour. And so that's a really nice feature that we're proud to be able to offer. And so with this tour, you stay for the entire time at the same property. And so the property that we stay at is a family-owned property that has been passed down from generation to generation. It's the San Donnino property, and it is in the middle of a working vineyard and olive oil plantation. And so the gentleman that you kind of see in the middle of the screen there in the blue and in the green polo shirt holding the glass of wine, he's actually the current owner of it. And like I said, has been passed down in his family over the years. And so while there's a lot of opportunity and experiences with food and culinary and wine experiences, there's also the history element that's woven throughout. So don't think that you'll be spending the entire time cooking your own meals or anything like that. But this is a really hands-on, authentic experience, and one that has been one of our most popular Italy programs over the years. And then as a teaser for 2022, we're really proud of the offerings that Kate has selected. And so for 2022, we'll be journeying to Israel as well as Alaska. And so our Alaska program is a small ship cruise that we exclusively charter that is only 76 guests in total. That's all about the wildlife. And so we're really proud of that program and are so thrilled that we'll be offering it with Oregon State in 2022. And then also the Yosemite program. And so, as I said, early on, we have enhanced all of our protocols. Those are readily available on our website at orbridge.com/wellness. And in addition to those overarching protocols, we also, of course, have tour-specific ones. Trans-Siberia will look very different than the national parks. And so we provide tour-specific protocols and health information for those who register for the particular tours. And then, like I said, the increased guest flexibility. And so we now have an opportunity for you to cancel and receive all your money back during the grace period, and then have eliminated all cancellation penalties up to 90 days on most tours, where you receive the majority of your deposit back as a refund should you decide to cancel. And then the remaining portion is a credit that you can use for up to 2 years after your scheduled travel dates. So really trying to work towards providing that peace of mind and the ability for you to have that comfort when you decide to invest in your next travel experience. And so for anyone who is joining us today, or who happens to watch this recording, if you book on the Oregon State and Orbridge co-branded website for any of these tours, Before Tuesday, December 1st, we'll be happy to extend a $125 savings to each traveler. And so you'll just put Oregon State virtual travel event or something similar in the information box, and we'll make sure that you are taken care of. And so while we're really proud of all of these offerings that we're offering with Kate and the Oregon State Travel Program, I know that from looking at the registration list for today, there are some who have been on other tours with Orbridge. And so if there are other areas that we have experiences, feel free to let Kate know, and she and I will be happy to kind of work together to see if there are dates available for you if one of these particular tours isn't one that you wish to travel on. And so with that, Kate, I will turn it back over to you.
Yes, thank you. Actually, that's great. That's actually how our Israel tour came about. We had some travelers that were really interested in Israel, and so we decided to add that to our calendar because of that high interest. So do let us know if there's a certain destination maybe you've seen in the past that we've offered with either Orbridge or Go Next, and we can definitely see if there's departure dates available. And then also real quick before we open up to question and answer, want to do a mention about group sizes for both, and Mike, feel free to join us too right now because we'll move into Q&A. For both organizations, we do try to keep our Oregon State travelers together. And so if you're either cruising on with Go Next, the Oregon Staters will be together with shore excursions and receptions and that sort of thing. And as well with Orbridge, we might have a departure with another university with us, but we'll keep the Oregon Staters as one group. Like we might have our own bus even, and depending on group numbers and group sizes, which is really great. So you might see a little bit higher numbers, but that doesn't mean that we're always together. We're quite divided, which is great. Now, before we go on, we are going to be drawing a name, and actually we already drew the one name who's going to receive a special savings through Go Next, and I'll share that name with you after the Q&A. If you have a question for either Orbridge, myself, or Go Next, please type it into that Q&A box down at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a small little icon that looks like two little speaking quotes and Q&A. Type it in there, and we will go ahead and ask our questions. Let's see, our first question is from Julie. If a tour is canceled because of national or international travel restrictions versus personal choice, is there a different refund or protocol? And actually, I'll go ahead and just take that one on. I will say yes, there is a different refund and protocol. If you choose to cancel a tour because you're just no longer able to go on it, or because you're maybe afraid of some COVID is going back up or something, you are subject to your cancellation policies of your travel organization. So be sure to review their cancellation policies in the brochures and the information that you have. And then that's where travel insurance really comes in handy. There is a type of travel insurance called cancel for any reason. It's acronymed as CFAR. You might hear that phrase CFAR insurance. That's cancel for any reason insurance. That does cover you for any reason of cancel. So if you're afraid and you just decide that you just can't do it anymore, then and you have CFAR, cancel for any reason insurance, you will get a refund on your trip. Dan or Mike, do you want to add a little bit to that question at all?
Yeah, I think it's important that people do note that there will be relaxed cancellation policies for all companies, especially for trips closer in. And then different companies treat it differently. So, and also if you're on a trip and it cancels, that's different than canceling before the trip cancels. So you have to be careful there. For Go Next, every trip that canceled in 2021, we actually gave the option of a refund or a future cruise credit. So if the trip canceled and people were still on it, they had the option of a full refund or 125% cruise credit. But different companies act differently, so you have to really make sure you know what the terms and conditions are.
Yeah. And so some of the tours as well for different companies, including Orbridge, get postponed when there's events like this. And so especially with something like a pandemic or an epidemic that's kind of outside of anyone's real control. And so this year, a lot of our tours had to be postponed. And so we worked with the universities on creating a new date that worked better, either maybe into next year or in 2022. And so as you consider options, that would be, like Mike said, something to really kind of look into to see how the different tour operators handle the tours that may need to be adjusted as a result of the pandemic.
Yes, I will say the norm is more of postponement. So you will see postponement more often than you'll see a full out refund. So that is kind of what a lot of companies are doing. Great. If there's any other questions, maybe everyone was so great that nobody else has a question, and that just gets you two off easy, which is wonderful. I'll say that I have traveled with both companies before, and they are wonderful trips. They're absolutely wonderful trips. Love them. And I don't see anything else coming in, so what I'll do next then is we'll draw that name to see who has won the travel voucher. So this is a $250 per person travel voucher for Go Next. You'll win. They can be used on any of the 2021 Go Next departures. It's a shared accommodation. So for two people, it's a total value of $500. And that person's name is, oh, wait, maybe I should wait. I have another question. I think I'm going to hold you in suspense. So we had one more question that came through. That was great timing, Mike and Angela.
Had the drum roll there ready to go.
Yes. Regarding the cruise operator, do you need permission from each location to land and to leave from? Are there contingency plans and rerouting?
Yeah, definitely. Part of the health and safety protocols, and these are always have been in force. If there's any reason for us not to land at a certain port, could be safety, could be weather, it could be a lot of things, and now obviously the virus. The nice thing about cruising, you can deviate to another port. So, and obviously we're not going to do an European cruise if all the ports that we plan to go to are still closed. So rest assured, once we promote trips, we're sure that we're going to be able to go into them. Now, that's the objective going in. If we get to that point where we can't go into a port or two, we can always deviate to another port.
Yeah, and you'll see on our travel calendar, we do have a number of tours that are posted for January, or cruises for January, February, and March. And January one may not probably happen, but we're hopeful that we'll get some more out there. That's the other thing is all these companies are used to short notice bookings. So even if your trip is coming up and you all of a sudden have some free time, try to get on it because there'll probably be space and probably be able to make accommodations even if it's a short notice in order to go on a trip. That's was before the pandemic. So we had some people that joined the Tahiti Legends to Lagoons tour less than a month before departure, and we were able to get them on that tour. So that is always also an option. All right, so I guess there's no more questions. I'll say the name unless someone else types something in. I don't think so. Okay, so the winner is Beth Harper. Beth, you have just won $250 travel voucher with Go Next for a 2021 tour. So that's per person. So if you bring a friend along with you, you each get a voucher. So it's a total of a $500 savings. And she says, wow, thank you. You're welcome, Beth. We will, Mike will follow up with you. I'll share your contact information so you can get that travel voucher. Gonna switch here. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and have a few last remarks to share with everyone today. Before you do head out, please do check these two websites. We've got the U.S. Government Travel Advisory and the Center for Disease Control with CDC and COVID-19 guidelines. So please do check for policies. The tour companies will also let you know about this information, but you do want to check frequently before you go. A few other resources to check out on the front page of our website, osualum.com/travel. You will find links to each of our tour provider safety guidelines. So Orbridge and Go Next are listed. There's these little drop down arrows. Click on those and you'll see the additional information. As well on the left bar, you'll see the buttons Ask Us, Travel Talks and Presentations, where you will find this recording, and then Virtual Travel Resources. You want to check out all of those. Our Travel Talks page, the osualum.com/travel talks, has recordings of our previous presentations, including the session with AHI Travel and Odysseys Unlimited, as mentioned earlier. You might want to check out our August Travel Talk. It was called A New Way to Travel, and that is about traveling today in the era of COVID. And there's some additional presentations and resources, such as a little pet project of mine called OSU in Oregon. It's alumni owned and operated businesses throughout Oregon that are travel related. So if you're touring around the state, check it out. You might find some great hotels, restaurants, and other resources that are fellow OSU alumni. You'll find throughout our website some additional resources on the right-hand side, including some webinars on travel insurance, which are really important. You might want to check those out and learn about the terms in technology and the different types of travel insurance out there. And lastly, don't forget our travel community on Facebook. It's called the OSU Alumni and Friends Travel Community. And join the conversation. And that is it for us today. Thank you both very much, Mike and Dan, for being here today and for our sneak peek into the 2021 tour season and the 2022 season. And thank you all for joining us today. And we hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye.